Harry's hopes of a return to the family fold appear to have been dashed, with the King reportedly ruling out any suggestion of a part-time royal role.
It's understood Prince Harry has made the last of his criticisms, however, against the royal family now that that court battle over his security is over.
Prince Harry, once a beloved prince of the United Kingdom and a fixture of global fascination, was born into royal privilege, expectation, and duty. Celebrated by millions and raised in the shadow of tradition.
Then at 2:35, the waiting was over.
He seemed destined for a life of honor and influence. But after stepping back from official duties, facing palace rejection, and enduring the exposure of confidential files, Harry finds himself emotionally shattered, questioned, and constrained. So, what led to this breaking point? And how will it reshape his future, his family, and the monarchy? This is the story. Harry's proposal for a modern monarchy. In a confidential meeting with King Charles, Prince Harry reportedly put forward a daring and unconventional idea, one that could have reshaped the very concept of the modern British monarchy. Sources suggest that Harry pitched the notion of a modern or flexible monarchy, a system in which he and Meghan Markle could reside in California, far from the daily pressures of royal life in London, while still occasionally fulfilling representative duties for the crown. On paper, it seemed like a clever compromise, a way to balance personal freedom and family life.
That I would step my family back from all I have ever known, to take us
straightforward, a structure that allowed him to maintain a connection to the institution he was born into, while also carving out space for his own family, career, and charitable work across the Atlantic. Living in California offered privacy, a calmer environment away from the relentless scrutiny of the British press, and the chance to raise their children outside the constant glare of media attention. At the same time, occasional engagements in the UK would demonstrate ongoing loyalty to the monarchy and the nation. To Harry, it was a win-win, a practical solution that respected both his role in the family and his need for independence. But according to palace insiders, the reaction from Buckingham Palace aides was swift and unequivocal. There was no hesitation, no room for negotiation, and no careful consideration of compromise. Harry's proposal, as described, was immediately dismissed. The message was clear and uncompromising. The monarchy is not a part-time occupation. Serving the crown demands full commitment, unwavering dedication, and a life largely devoted to duty, ceremony, and public service. Unlike a typical job that might allow remote work or flexible hours, being a senior royal is a lifelong responsibility that leaves little space for personal discretion. Sources suggest that the rejection of Harry's idea wasn't merely bureaucratic rigidity. It reflected centuries of tradition, precedent, and deeply ingrained expectations of loyalty. The monarchy operates on principles that stretch back hundreds of years. Principles that value absolute service, personal sacrifice, and the continuity of public duty. Any attempt to introduce a hybrid or flexible model, no matter how reasonable it might appear in modern terms, is seen as incompatible with these long-standing norms. Prince Harry's bold vision clashed head-on with centuries of royal tradition and strict rules. What he saw as a modern flexible monarchy was, in the palace's eyes, a challenge to long-standing expectations of duty, hierarchy, and total commitment. His desire for personal freedom collided with an institution built on unwavering loyalty and responsibility. The proposal revealed a fundamental tension that would define his relationship with the royal family for years. In the monarchy, there is no middle ground. Service to the crown cannot be part-time. Prince Harry reportedly suggested a flexible monarchy that would allow him to work as a part-time royal while living outside the UK, but the idea was dismissed immediately. But why was a proposal that seemed aimed at bringing him closer to his family turned down? Does it mean that royal protocol cannot be bent for anyone? Let's find out. No compromise allowed. Sources close to the royal household have made it abundantly clear that King Charles is unwavering in his stance. There will be no compromise, no middle ground, and absolutely no half-in, half-out arrangement for Prince Harry. Serving the monarchy, the palace insists, is not a matter of convenience or choice. It requires full, unwavering commitment. Royal duties, from official engagements to charitable work and public representation, demand total dedication, leaving no room to mix personal ambitions or private business ventures with the obligations of the crown. For Prince Harry, the palace's decision was far more than a mere refusal. It drew an unbreakable line he could not cross. The idea of living part-time in California while serving the monarchy on a flexible schedule clashed with centuries of royal tradition. Every duty of a working royal demands unwavering consistency, constant presence, and loyalty to the crown, values that have guided generations. These expectations are deeply rooted in the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II, whose lifelong dedication to service set the standard for what it truly means to uphold the responsibilities of royalty. Palace insiders stress that this isn't just a random decision. It reflects the very principles championed by Harry's late mother, Princess Diana, who believed that royal duty carries real responsibility and cannot be divided. The monarchy, they say, relies on strict rules and long-standing traditions to maintain its authority, credibility, and continuity. Granting exceptions even for a beloved prince could blur the line between personal freedom and duty, risking public trust. King Charles, they insist, is determined to uphold these standards, no matter the personal cost. For the Duke of Sussex, the implications are profound. His vision of a modern monarchy that balances private life with public duty now faces the hard reality of institutional resistance. The line has been drawn decisively, leaving him to navigate the tension between his desire for independence and the immutable demands of royal service. Every suggestion of flexibility has been met with polite but firm refusal, underscoring the enduring truth that in the eyes of the palace, serving the crown is an all-or-nothing commitment. This royal directive leaves Harry with a stark choice: fully embrace the obligations of monarchy, or step away entirely, accepting that the world he once hoped to reshape cannot bend to fit personal convenience. The message from Buckingham Palace could not be clearer. Tradition, duty, and loyalty come first, and there is no room for part-time royals, no matter how progressive the vision may seem. For Harry, the boundary between personal freedom and royal duty has been drawn in bold, unmistakable lines, setting the stage for the next chapter in the ongoing saga of the Sussexes and the crown. While the palace maintained that being a working royal requires full dedication, Harry only saw that there was a boundary he could not cross within the monarchy. But could there be more evidence that the palace is denying Harry this privilege? Now let's explore the palace file leak that shocked Harry. The shattered trust. The tension between Prince Harry and the palace reached an entirely new and dramatic level when Buckingham Palace reportedly made public a confidential file that had long been hidden in restricted archives. This document, according to insiders, contained years of private assessments, internal emails, and detailed notes chronicling Harry's departure from royal duties and the evolution of his life alongside Meghan Markle. For decades, it had been assumed that such sensitive material would remain behind closed doors, shielded from public view. Its sudden exposure, however, reportedly shocked the Duke of Sussex to his core. Within the pages of this file, sources claim, were intimate details of Harry's state of mind, private disagreements with palace officials, and behind-the-scenes deliberations about his increasingly strained relationship with his family. Far from portraying the picture he publicly shared, a man simply seeking freedom, safety, and protection for his loved ones. The documents allegedly painted Harry as volatile, mistrustful of staff, and resistant to compromise. Every decision, every moment of tension, and every interaction was meticulously recorded, analyzed, and interpreted by those around him. The blow to Harry's emotions was reportedly profound. Insiders reveal that when he discovered the full extent of the palace disclosures, he reportedly broke down, overwhelmed by the realization that every private struggle, every disagreement, and even his efforts at reconciliation had been meticulously recorded. What was likely intended to explain the palace's perspective instead struck him as a deeply personal betrayal. Every frustration, every vulnerable moment, and every behind-the-scenes attempt at peace now felt exposed, leaving him stunned, hurt, and questioning how much trust could ever remain within the institution he was born into. For Meghan Markle, the leak of the file was interpreted as a deliberate maneuver aimed at undermining the couple's credibility. At a time when public sympathy and support for Harry and Meghan were still fragile, insiders suggest the revelations were timed to frame the narrative in favor of the institution, casting doubt on the Duke's intentions and actions. The scrutiny was not merely public, it was deeply personal, cutting to the heart of Harry's sense of trust and fairness within the royal household. Observers say the revelation of these confidential documents may have done more than reignite old tensions. It potentially widened the rift between Harry and the monarchy. While he had long expressed a desire to step away from official duties while maintaining ties, the file's contents, made available to select journalists and constitutional advisors, reinforced the palace's perspective that no compromise would be tolerated. To Harry, the exposure was a stark reminder that, within the institution he was born into, personal struggles and family conflicts could never remain private, and every action would be scrutinized, analyzed, and recorded for history. There are reports of a confidential palace document that allegedly raises serious concerns about Prince Harry's requests. But what exactly does the palace's refusal mean for him? Could this decision also affect his security arrangements in the UK, or might that protection be denied as well? Let's uncover the astonishing details. Court ruling and security battle. Prince Harry's struggles in the United Kingdom took a sharply painful turn following a court decision that crushed his hopes of securing additional security arrangements. After stepping back from official royal duties and relocating to the United States, Harry had been relying on legal avenues to ensure his safety and reduce the immense financial burden of maintaining a high-level personal security detail. Spending millions of pounds on protection, the Duke of Sussex had hoped that the courts would acknowledge his unique circumstances and grant him greater flexibility. Instead, the ruling came down firmly in favor of the UK government, leaving no room for compromise. The decision sent shockwaves through Harry's world. For someone who had served in the military, faced intense public scrutiny, and endured constant media pressure, the denial felt deeply personal. It was more than a legal setback. It was a stark reminder of the limits imposed even on those born into royalty. In essence, the court reinforced that no one, not even a prince, could rewrite the rules of state security or create exceptions based on personal preference. Sources close to the palace revealed that King Charles, while deeply concerned for his son's well-being, was constitutionally constrained from interfering. His hands were tied by protocol, law, and the delicate balance of public responsibility versus private loyalty. For Prince Harry, the court ruling hit with intense emotional force. The Duke reportedly felt frustrated, hurt, and betrayed, trapped between the rigid demands of the monarchy and the realities of his personal life. Years of trying to protect himself, Meghan Markle, and their children from threats intensified by media scrutiny now seemed legally constrained, leaving him exposed and overwhelmed. Friends and insiders describe a man under immense stress, wrestling with the impossible balance between royal obligations and personal freedom. Every effort he made to navigate this delicate space appeared blocked, reinforcing the stark reality that, within the monarchy, certain boundaries are absolute, lines that cannot be bent no matter the personal cost. Moreover, the decision underscored the ongoing tension between Harry's desire for independence and the strict structures of the British monarchy. While he continues to pursue meaningful work, charitable engagements, and public influence, The court ruling reinforced the stark reality. Stepping away from official duties comes with costs, both practical and emotional. The inability to secure expanded security not only posed logistical challenges but also highlighted a deeper truth. The monarchy imposes rules that can never be fully escaped. For Harry, it was a moment of reckoning, a painful confrontation with the constraints of his birthright, and a reminder that even the most determined efforts to protect oneself must contend with centuries-old institutions and their unyielding protocols. Not only was Harry's request for a flexible, part-time royal role turned down, but his proposal to increase his security arrangements was also denied. But will Harry still be able to trust his family after all these? And how is he coping with the disappointment? Let's find out. Emotional BBC interview. In a deeply revealing and rare interview with the BBC, Prince Harry opened his heart to the world, offering a glimpse into the emotional storm he has endured for years. With a mix of vulnerability and frustration, he confessed that he felt utterly stitched up by the very institution that was meant to safeguard him and his family. For Harry, this betrayal cut deeper than public criticism. It was personal, a painful realization that the royal system he was born into could so systematically document, scrutinize, and ultimately constrain him. During the interview, Harry spoke candidly about the intense longing he feels for his homeland, admitting how much he misses the United Kingdom and its familiar landscapes. More importantly, he expressed a heartfelt desire to bring his children to experience the country of their heritage, to walk the streets and see the traditions that have shaped generations of the monarchy. Yet despite this yearning, he acknowledged the harsh reality. Under the current circumstances, such visits are not safe. The combination of media scrutiny, security concerns, and political constraints has made even the simplest dreams of family connection almost impossible. Even in the midst of this personal turmoil, Harry extended a cautious olive branch, signaling that reconciliation with his family is still something he hopes for. But the possibility depends entirely on others' willingness to meet him halfway. He emphasized that any healing would require openness and compromise from the senior royals, placing the ball firmly in their court. This subtle yet profound message underscored both his readiness to mend fences and the stark reality that the rift cannot be closed unilaterally. Throughout the interview, the sheer emotional rift within the royal family was impossible to ignore. Harry's words revealed a man torn between loyalty to his family, devotion to his children, and deep frustration with an institution that enforces rigid rules even on its own members. He spoke openly of isolation, heartbreak, and the weight of unmet expectations, offering the world a rare and deeply personal glimpse behind the royal facade. For once, the headlines gave way to the human struggles, fears, and longings of a prince navigating love, duty, and betrayal. By the end of the interview, it was impossible to ignore the complexity of the situation. A prince who seeks both personal freedom and family unity, facing a world where the two often clash. The BBC conversation did more than report facts. It exposed the raw emotional truth of a family divided, highlighting the tensions, loyalties, and barriers that define life inside one of the world's most famous royal households. For Harry, this was not just a personal story. It was a revelation of the profound costs of navigating love, duty, and identity within the constraints of monarchy. Harry reportedly broke down emotionally after his family's reaction toward him, feeling deeply betrayed by the very institution he once trusted. But will this stop him from moving forward with his life? And what plans does he have next, even without their support? Now, let's unravel Prince Harry's independent plan. Behind the scenes. While the world watched the public fallout from Prince Harry's departure from royal duties, behind the scenes, a quieter, more calculated effort was taking shape. According to insiders, Harry has been methodically building what some describe as a parallel royal ecosystem in the United Kingdom, a structure distinct from Prince William's established royal court. This isn't about reclaiming an official role within the monarchy or stepping back into the life of a working royal. Rather, it appears to be a long-term strategy designed to secure influence, independence, and legitimacy on his own terms. Sources suggest that Harry's vision includes creating a team of staff and advisors dedicated to Sussex-focused initiatives. These plans may even extend to establishing a permanent London residence, providing a base from which he can operate independently while still remaining symbolically connected to the UK. The idea, insiders say, is not to compete with the Crown outright, but to carve out a recognizable and autonomous presence that allows Harry to pursue charitable, cultural, and philanthropic projects without the restrictions of traditional royal protocol. The Duke has been thinking far ahead, a palace insider revealed to Shooter Scoop. This isn't only about short-term opportunities or security arrangements. Harry is methodically building a long-term plan to establish a credible, independent presence in Britain, one that doesn't rely on palace approval or official royal titles. This careful strategy highlights his determination for autonomy while staying connected to the country he cherishes. Even without formal recognition, Harry aims to honor royal traditions and maintain influence, carving out a role on his own terms while respecting the monarchy's heritage. Beyond just staff and homes, Prince Harry's strategy reportedly aims to create a fully structured, Sussex-branded presence in the UK. Insiders say he is exploring high-profile engagements, charitable partnerships, and public appearances, all carefully coordinated to build his own sphere of influence. By designing this independent framework, Harry could operate semi-autonomously, remaining connected to Britain and its people, championing causes and engaging in philanthropy, without being bound by the strict rules and expectations that come with official royal duties. This is his bid for freedom, credibility, and impact. Insiders emphasize that this is a deliberate, long-term vision rather than a reactionary move. It is a way for Harry to reclaim agency over his life, his family, and his public role, all while maintaining visibility in the UK without being subject to the scrutiny, rules, or limitations that come with official royal status. In essence, he is carefully constructing a new form of royalty, one that blends independence with connection, ambition with loyalty, and personal freedom with public service. Through this subtle but ambitious maneuver, Prince Harry signals that even outside the official palace walls, he intends to remain a force in the UK, a royal presence reimagined on his own terms. Prince Harry has reportedly decided to build his own independent royal ecosystem without the support of the royal family. But will the public accept this approach? And can he still command the same respect given to working royals? Let's find out. The changing public reception. The departure of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from royal duties in 2020 did more than redefine their own lives. It reshaped the public's perception of the couple and the monarchy itself. Once celebrated for their youthful energy and modern approach, Harry and Meghan were greeted with cheers and admiration during their early appearances, such as their 2018 tour, when huge crowds turned out to welcome the Duke and Duchess of Sussex with open arms. Back then, they were symbols of a new, dynamic chapter for the royal family, figures of hope, style, and relatability. But everything changed after they decided to step back from royal duties, move to the United States, and establish a life independent of the institution. What was once unqualified admiration has now become far more complicated. Insiders within royal circles, particularly in countries like Australia and the UK, have raised serious concerns about the public reception that awaits them during upcoming visits. Where once their arrival guaranteed applause and excitement, there is now uncertainty, caution, and even opposition. Monarchists, loyal to the traditional image of the royal family, may view the couple as rebels who challenged the established order. Meanwhile, Republicans and critics see their presence as a disruption, a reminder of ongoing tensions and unresolved disputes within the monarchy. This shift in public sentiment reflects not only the couple's personal choices, but also the broader consequences of royal actions in a world that watches closely. Harry and Meghan are no longer just young royals breaking the mold. They are now polarizing figures whose every move is scrutinized and interpreted. The excitement and joy that greeted them in 2018 have been replaced, in part, by speculation, criticism, and debate over their legacy, intentions, and future role. Insiders reveal that Harry and Meghan's upcoming visits are unlikely to be met with the same adoring crowds as before. Instead, they may face a mixed reception, some fans excited to celebrate their accomplishments, while others remain skeptical, critical, or indifferent. Media coverage is expected to reflect this division, swinging between praise for their achievements and scrutiny of past controversies. The couple's return promises a tense and unpredictable atmosphere, where admiration and criticism collide in equal measure. Ultimately, Harry and Meghan's presence has become more than a simple royal visit. It has evolved into a public barometer of sentiment toward the modern monarchy. Their story demonstrates how quickly admiration can turn into debate and how decisions made within the palace ripple outward, affecting public perception across nations. For Harry and Meghan, every return to the UK is now a high-stakes event, a complex mix of applause, scrutiny, and the ever-present challenge of navigating their place in a world that both loves and questions them. The return of Harry may no longer receive the warm welcome it once did, especially after his growing distance from other members of the royal family. But how does the public truly view Harry's situation? Will they sympathize with him, or will they blame him for creating his own problems? Now let's dive into the public reactions, historic fallout, and global scrutiny. In the wake of Prince Harry's emotional revelations, the world of commentators, historians, and royal critics has been abuzz with reactions, each attempting to make sense of this unprecedented royal drama. Professor Kate Williams, a respected royal historian, described Harry's breakdown as a historic and deeply significant moment. She highlighted the Duke's visible anger, frustration, and profound sense of despair as he confronted the stark reality of how the palace handled his exit from official duties. To her, Harry's emotional outpouring was not just a personal crisis, it marked a turning point in the narrative of modern monarchy, exposing vulnerabilities and human complexities within an institution long associated with stoicism, tradition, and controlled public appearances. At the same time, vocal critics have not held back in their condemnation. Figures like Piers Morgan have cast Harry as a rebellious and controversial figure, portraying him as someone whose actions clash with the expectations, rules, and protocols of the royal household. Morgan and like-minded critics frame the Duke's public statements, court battles, and independent endeavors as not merely personal grievances, but deliberate challenges to the monarchy itself. In their eyes, Harry's attempts to carve out a new role and assert independence have been framed as a betrayal of the institution that shaped him from birth. The contrast between historians' measured analysis and critics' scathing commentary underscores the extraordinary complexity of the situation. Harry's journey is not simply about one man's choices or grievances. It has evolved into a story with national and global significance. Each development, whether a court ruling, a BBC interview, or a carefully leaked document, adds layers of intrigue, suspense, and public debate. From proposing a modern monarchy that balanced royal duty with personal freedom to confronting the uncompromising rules of tradition, Harry has navigated a path fraught with emotion, scrutiny, and the weight of centuries-old expectations. Beyond the palace walls, the fallout has reshaped how the world sees both Prince Harry and the monarchy. To supporters, he appears as a devoted son and father, striving to protect his family while claiming independence. To critics, however, his choice is read as defiance, even disrespect. This clash of perspectives has turned a private family disagreement into a public spectacle, sparking debate over loyalty, authority, and the place of modern royalty in today's world. A tension that continues to captivate media, royal watchers, and the general public alike. Ultimately, Prince Harry's journey has created a legacy tangled with deep emotion, lingering tensions, and relentless public scrutiny. Beyond the grandeur of royal ceremonies, glittering crowns, and historic palaces, his story reveals a profoundly human struggle, balancing personal freedom, family loyalty, and the pressures of tradition. From bold proposals for change to heartbreak over rejection, Harry's experiences continue to capture attention worldwide. It's a tale of ambition, disappointment, and resilience, showing that even those born into privilege must navigate love, loyalty, and the harsh realities of life under the crown. So, what do you think about the palace's reaction to Harry's future role? Could they have accommodated him? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.